welcome to this webinar and podcast from the We Brave Leaders series, which is about starting strong and how to navigate your first 90 days as a braver leader. Now, according to Glassdoor, this is just a key time in January when we're recording this, when many of us decide to change jobs. Now, you're probably used to it being January, where the pavements are filled with joggers in shiny shoes, and gyms all around the country, in fact probably all the way around the world, are filled with folk with determined New Year's resolutions. But yes, we all make those New Year's resolutions over Christmas, whether it's to do with having that rest break or whether it's end of year performance bonuses. And many of us decide that over the Christmas period, it's time to start looking for a new job. According to that research from Glassdoor, more people look around the Christmas period for a change of role than at any other time of the year. Now, whatever your motivation, for many of us, we're going to be preparing for something bigger. We may be looking for our next challenge. We may be looking at switching up to a new role. And this season of articles is all about that first 90 days. Now, whether you're preparing for that move or whether you're just switching into that role right now, those 90 days are a critical time for everybody who's switching roles, because there's really no time to lose. There's no other moment like those first 90 days where you are the new person and where every day counts. And it's when you're going to be asked to be braver as a leader than perhaps at any other point in your career. So let's look at what we're going to cover today. So today's webinar is all about starting strong and how to navigate your first 90 days as a new leader using a model which I've developed called the Braver model. And it's all about stepping up. So stepping up to a new leadership role is a big deal. It's exciting, but also it can be overwhelming. And that journey from being a master in one role to a relative novice happens all over again. And you have an urge to prove and live up to all those expectations that are created through the recruitment process. Now, there's something very special about those first 90 days. They're the 90 days that are critical because they set the tone for your leadership style, how you're seen, how people want to work with you, and your impact. And some people leave that 90 days to chance. They just try really hard and just see what happens. But the reality is 90 days goes by in a flash. There are opportunities, being that new child, that are unique to those 90 days. Now, you don't need to have all the answers from day one, but what is helpful is having a framework to focus your energy and navigate all this transition period with confidence, and that's where the Braver framework comes in. Now, the Braver framework is a step-by-step approach designed to help leaders to grow and thrive, even in challenging situations. And here's what the Braver stands for. So B is for building relationships, connecting with your team and peers and stakeholders to establish trust and collaboration. The R is for reframing challenges. This is about where we need to shift our mindset as a new leader, new in-role leader, from fear and self-doubt and being intimidated by seeing other people around us who are just that much more knowledgeable or more established in their roles, to move from self-doubt to seeing opportunities for growth. A is for acting with energy, because those 90 days will go in a flash, but we also need to stay flexible and open as you navigate a new environment. V is for visualizing success. Now, identifying and focusing on small, meaningful wins that build confidence and really seeing those 90 days, the culmination of those 90 days, as a point of success in your career. E is for energy, because you need to have a really strong energetic drive in yourself, but also to be able to energize and empower others, leading by inspiring and supporting your team to reach their potential. And R is for resilience and reflection, making sure that we take the time to assess what's working and what's not and how to improve, so making those marginal adjustments every single day. So let's dive into how you can use each piece of the Braver framework to help you make the most of your first 90 days as a leader. Now, the first 90 days is that critical time frame for setting the tone of your leadership. This period influences how you're perceived, how relationships are built, and how effectively you can navigate challenges. There is nothing quite like it. And if you use the Braver approach, What it's going to give you is a structured framework that guides you through the initial challenges of your role. The emphasis here is on relationship building, reframing challenges, being adaptable, being able to visualize success and create a compelling vision for others, empowering and delivering energy, and also reflection to be able to facilitate your own growth and the growth of others as well. So today in this presentation, we're going to take you through the Braver framework in a little bit more detail to help you understand how to make that happen. So our first section is around building relationships. Now, the temptation in the first 90 days is to solve a problem, to prove your worth, because let's face it, they've invested in you. You've gone through a tough recruitment process, you've beaten off all the competition, and the expectations are high. Our temptation in 90 days is to get a problem solved within the first 9 to prove our worth. But actually, your real focus should be on building trust. Because in most organisations, resources and knowledge are held by so many different people. Relationships and developing meaningful connections are going to be the foundation of your 90-day strategy. So the question then is about how do you do it? Well, the first asset, of course, is your own team, and so scheduling one-on-one meetings with team members allows you to create a personal connection, but you need to be in listening mode rather than tell mode. Create those platforms for open dialogue, allowing you to be able to understand people's roles, their challenges, their expectations of themselves and the organisation, what they want to achieve, as well as what you can see as being the gaps as well. And it is about being curious and asking about people's challenges, their goals, what do they need from you, showing genuine curiosity, ask insightful questions to help identify obstacles and demonstrate that you value their input and their expertise as well. It's very tempting when you're a new leader to come in and raise the ground, to dismiss the work of your predecessor, but actually it's important to honour the old guard as you go into a new role. At the end of the day, everybody in your team will have put a lot of sweat and tears into the things that they've already achieved, and coming in and just dismissing everything that they've done and starting from scratch is probably not the best way of being able to build trust and relationships from start. So showing genuine appreciation of the work that people have done, even if you think that it could be better, showing genuine appreciation of the efforts that people have put in enhances morale and builds goodwill towards you. And it puts people in listening mode. If they're not in listening mode, and if you create a sense of threat from the outset, then it's just going to mean it's harder to get stuff done within those 90 days. So simple expressions of gratitude here can create a positive working atmosphere and deepen professional relationships. And it is also about recognizing people's efforts and then being approachable, letting people know that they can come to you with ideas or concerns. Now, as you move up into a senior role, of course, you may be supported by some people who will help you with your diaries or help you with your admin. So you need to take care, if that is a new structure to you as well, that it's all very well standing there on the stump telling people that they can come to you with ideas and concerns. But if the people who support your diary are filtering out those ideas and concerns, you can very quickly look disingenuous in there. It's just, I'm telling you my door is always open, but actually in reality, it's firmly closed. So being available not only increases trust, but also fosters collaboration and problem solving amongst the team. And then, of course, you bring different things from your past role. Use that knowledge, use it sparingly, use it with discretion. Sharing insights and experience from previous roles can help offer valuable perspectives. But it's important to get the balance right here between telling people how it was done at your old place and how much better it was, as a contrast, for example, to the struggles that they're actually facing in their existing role. So use that knowledge in order to inspire and encourage a learning and growth mindset, and that will help your team to navigate their current challenges much more effectively. Okay, on to the R. So R here in our Braver framework is about reframing challenges. And this is about transforming people here from being doubtful about their ability to succeed and your ability to succeed. Because leadership often comes with imposter syndrome, that little voice in your head that says, you're not ready for this. And reframing is about turning those doubts into instant growth opportunities. Now, imposter syndrome manifests as feelings of self-doubt and insecurity amongst almost all leaders. In fact, over 70% of leaders say that they experience imposter syndrome at some point, and this impacts on their confidence and performance levels significantly. Now remember, you only have 90 days to make that really great first impression, because there's nothing like it after those 90 days have gone. And so starting with imposter syndrome is certainly one of those things that you want to be looking and tackling. And one of the antidotes to imposter syndrome is reframing those doubts into growth opportunities. Okay, so let's have a look at how might you do that. So one of the ways in which you can actually get on with understanding imposter syndrome and moving things forward is to learn from tough situations. So you can look at a tough situation, the way in which you've now got to walk into a new role, you've got to deliver different things in there, and that feels kind of tough. And it's very easy to believe that you're failing almost from the outset. But one of the ways in which you can do this is to learn to self-coach. Now, I use techniques called positive intelligence, which you can ask me about if you're interested in. But one of the good ways in terms of facing into imposter syndrome is actually just acknowledging your feelings without letting them define you. So many of us will tend to think when we're facing a tough challenge in here, we'll say, I am not good enough. Clearly, I look around me, others can sail their way through this, and this is me, and I am not good enough. But instead of saying, I am not good enough, try reframing that to, I'm learning, and I'm learning as I go, and learning is a good thing. By reframing these things as, what can I learn from this challenge? You can reframe problems as learning opportunities, and then that helps you to build that resilience and adaptability, which is an essential trait for later on in your career and sets you up for success well beyond those first 90 days. Coaching, of course, is, I'm going to be telling you, is a really good thing if you can get your hands on it. But you can also self-coach. So there are techniques such as those from positive intelligence that offer methods to be able to quiet that negative self-talk. It'll help you to practice mindfulness and really mind cognitive reframing. Because once you're able to self-coach, you can also shift your mindset to be able to focus on strengths when you face adversity and challenges, rather than just weaknesses. And over time, what it'll do is help you to enhance your self-belief and effectiveness, which is really helpful if you're particularly prone to feelings of imposter syndrome. And it's important as well that you also acknowledge and manage your feelings in there. It's okay in those first 90 days to feel that some things are all out, all at sea, because every new role comes with its own challenges and its own surprises. But instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, embrace those thoughts of growth instead. I'm learning. That's okay, because this promotes emotional resilience and self-acceptance. Because if you don't love yourself at work, who is going to love you back? Okay. So let's look now at adapting to change. Now, every role comes with its new challenges and surprises, and every new job and new organisation has its own culture that you've got to learn. And so key to this is your adaptability. Adaptability, a key thing to thrive in transition. So here are some thoughts on how to develop adaptability in there. So the first one is the temptation in 90 days is to act because you want to get the win under your belt. But actually, the first thing to do in 90 days is actually learn to observe. Take the time to observe and understand the environment and how things are connected in the organisation is crucial before you wade in and try to make your first grand decision. It feels so tempting to step in there and make your mark, plant your flag and say, this is how to do it. to use the experience of how you've done things before to say, we did this at this company and therefore this is what needs to be done. The problem there, of course, is that you don't yet understand the system. So take time to understand the organization's culture and many of the unwritten rules of how people behave in there. And it's about then thinking about how you can be flexible when understanding those organizational rules to still make change happen. Leaders have to invest time in understanding the unwritten rules of the organisation and the culture to be able to navigate those effectively and to change the things that you don't like. But it's so much easier when you have people on your side than when you're trying to take people in a direction that they don't actually understand. And of course, some things are not necessarily going to work as planned. So flexibility is the key here. It's fine to have a plan in place, but if plans don't unfold as intended, being adaptable is going to help you as a leader to recalibrate and then respond to unforeseen challenges. And remember, of course, you can have your 90-day plan, but your boss and other stakeholders will have theirs as well. So whatever you think is going to happen in your first 90 days, the one thing you absolutely do know is that it will be different. The only thing you don't know at the beginning is how different that it's going to be. So one way around that is actually by breaking down your 90 days into a smaller section of chunks. So you can create a structured 30, 60, 90-day plan and use that in a structured way to prioritize learning, building relationships, and delivering results. So you can, whether you do this on brown paper on a wall or in a notebook or with Notion or however you do it, at the end of each day and at the end of each week is reflect on how are you prioritizing learning, how are you building relationships, how are you delivering results and setting the ground for the delivery of results, because this as a roadmap will help you to provide clarity and direction to yourself, but also when you're having those critical new boss conversations about how things are going, it will help those conversations as well. Okay. Visualizing success. There have been some really interesting studies of people around visualization and how visualization can trick the mind into thinking that it's experienced something even though it hasn't. Now, often when we start in a new role, we fear some of the new things that are going to come our way. We feel intimidated by people around us who know so much more than us. And that first 90 days can feel a bit like a marathon. But small wins always help a journey to be manageable, and visualizing success is about identifying those goals that can build confidence for you and your team. Now, the strange thing with your brain is that it's not very good at determining between things that it has actually experienced and things that it hasn't yet experienced, but you have visualized strongly. And that's where, even as a new leader, even in your first 90 days, that you can use this brain hack to your advantage. So let's look at how you can do these things. So the first one is about focusing on quick wins. What's one thing that you can help improve or help your team to improve so that they can accomplish something that will make an immediate impact? Quick wins always help the team feel good about themselves. They demonstrate immediate impact. And even though you may need to repurpose or pivot your team in a direction you feel strongly about, it's going to help soften that journey for them by helping them feel like they're still worth something and they're still achieving, even though subtly underneath there, you're trying to make some changes about the direction in which they're heading. It's also important that you share those wins as well and celebrate them, because your team will be nervous about a new boss, just as you're going to be nervous coming in as well. So celebrating with your team will help to build morale and momentum. It creates a culture of appreciation and it sets the tone for how that relationship is going to go. And when you have that culture of appreciation, it's much easier to motivate team members to strive beyond what you see as being further accomplishments. How much easier it is when your team are coming to you with those great ideas on how to make things even better, rather than you having to do all of the work yourself. And we talked about visualization. Now, the brain has this kind of slightly weird thing that goes on where it can't really tell the difference between things that it thinks it's done and then things that it actually has done. So bizarrely, as a brain hack, imagining yourself succeeding in challenging situations can actually help build confidence before things happen, because research shows that visualizing succeeding in a challenging situation trains your brain to perform better when that moment actually comes. So let's say, for example, you're going to have your very first board presentation, and this is something that you've never done before in this new role. You know that it's going to come up. Well, actually watching board presentations, sitting in on board presentations, and visualizing yourself doing a board presentation, the research shows that your brain then believes when you're actually in the situation that it's done these things before. And those moments of self-doubt then become a little bit calmer and a little bit quieter when the moment comes. Let's now look at the E, so energizing and empowering others. Now, your success as a leader isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you help others to thrive as well. So empowering your team creates a positive ripple effect. So let's look at some things that you can do practically to help you do this. So delegate responsibilities helps you to build trust and give your team ownership. But also it's about coaching your team members by asking thoughtful questions instead of always providing the answers in there. Gathering insights from your team offers you valuable perspectives for continuous improvement and their own development as well. So think about how you can coach your team members by asking thoughtful questions instead of always providing them with the answers. Recognize their achievement. A simple great job can go a long way in motivating others. And recognizing their contribution in helping you through your first 90 days. A little humility to acknowledge what you're learning and how you're developing sets the scene for a culture of continuous improvement and also development. And finally, in the Braver model, we have the R, which is reflecting and reflecting regularly. Now, leadership is a journey, not a destination. So taking time to reflect ensures that you're always growing and always improving. And here are some things that you can do around this. So at the end of every week, write down 3 things. Write down what went well, what didn't, and what you learned. Ask for feedback from your team and your peers because their perspective can provide valuable insights. You don't have to action all of them because feedback, as we know, is a gift and a perspective. But being able to see yourself through different lenses and different perspectives might provide you with valuable insights. And also don't forget to come back to the Braver framework to stay aligned with your goals and your values. Now, despite all of this, there are some common pitfalls to avoid. Even with the Braver framework, there are a few traps to watch out for. The first one, of course, is trying to do too much too soon. So focus on a few key priorities rather than trying to tackle everything. The second pitfall is about neglecting relationships. You can get so caught up in the tasks and so caught up in creating the admin and the systems and the structures that you forget to connect with people. But actually, it's those connections that will help you to solve the challenges that aren't entirely within your control. And the third area is about avoiding feedback, because although it's hard to take feedback on board, it's much better to seek out constructive criticism than let small issues fester. So getting the right balance in those first 90 days, it certainly isn't easy. So how do we sum this up? Well, look, your first 90 days as a leader are your chance to set the foundation for success. And by following a framework such as the Braver framework, it's going to help you to focus on what truly matters, building relationships, quietening that self-doubt, staying adaptable, and empowering your team. And look, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up, stay curious, and keep learning. So take a deep breath, because you've got this, and the Braver framework will help to guide you every step of the way. Now, before I go, let me let you know about what the Braver Leader framework is about and my program called We Brave Leaders, because we all know that we live in times that are asking you to navigate uncertainty, make tough decisions, resolve challenges quickly and with confidence. And in short, the world is going to need braver leaders. Now, I'm a professional coach. I've got years of experience helping rising leaders to prepare for and nail those first 90 days, to be braver, build confidence, and navigate the challenges of leadership with clarity and resilience. So if you'd like to know more about the work that I do, then there will be a link attached to this video and podcast where you can sign up to the We've Brave Leaders newsletter, and in there you'll get actionable insights direct to your inbox. And as a gift to start you on your braver journey, I'm going to give you my imposter syndrome workbook away for free. And if you want even more resources to help you on your journey to be a braver leader, then check out my website, webraveleaders.com. From myself, Ian Brown, that's it for now. We'll catch you next time. Bye bye.